Know this. Introducing the original blood clot podcast, not players. Soothing Semantics. Special dedication all the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SOOT Semantics. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing Semantics. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man now. Soothing Semantics.
On another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast, I'm your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, like, share. Make sure to record your videos when you host an episode. And today we have Michael Sartain on the podcast. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Absolutely, bro. This is the second go around.
Yeah.
So, yes, Mike is a former captain in the U.S. Air Force. He has a show called the Michael Sartain Podcast. We're going to talk about everything else you do with stocks and everything like that. He has a mentorship program as well. So I'm going to post all the links. So when we initially started this podcast beforehand, a few minutes ago, when I didn't have it recorded, you were going into your upbringing.
Yeah. So I grew up in East Dallas. Dallas is a segregated city. It's kind of like Atlanta in that way a little bit, or sometimes like Jackson, Mississippi. It's really segregated. So I grew up north of Swiss Avenue, and I went to high school south of Swiss Avenue. So I grew up in a pretty nice neighborhood. I went to a Baptist church, with my family. We lived near Highland Park, and then I would go to high school, and it was just gangbangers, and we were the first high school with metal detectors. There were probably, I want to say there were 4 shootings while I was there in the 90s. My best friend was shot several times. I have several friends still in jail for selling crack. I remember I'd come back home and I would tell my parents, I was like, I saw somebody get shot today, and you remember my best friend, he got shot. They just didn't believe me, because it's really weird how you can just be a couple of streets off in Dallas and you're in a completely different area. And I don't think my parents, until maybe I was a senior, I don't think they really understood like where I was going to high school. I was just gang initiations and how fucking crazy it was. I think we had a graduation rate below 15%. I think that's right. I think we had 1,500 students
below
graduated.
15% graduation rate?
Yeah, I think it was below 15% at the time, because it was the majority of the students were ESL, English second language. I remember we barely had enough passing grades to field a football team. We were a 5A school in 4A school in Texas with 17 members on a varsity football team. That's impossible. Like that's not even imaginable. And so, it was just, it's funny because I remember growing up and seeing like 90210 or Saved by the Bell. And I was like, and I remember just thinking like, this is what high school is like for you guys. Like I'd go to high school and it's not that I was afraid because I was a bigger kid, but I just remember like there was no chance that you're ever going to let your guard down in high school. Like you were always ready for some crazy shit to go down, right?
Mike, did you grow up on a better side, because you said it was segregated? So why did you end up in that school? Why did you end up in that school in the first place?
So if you see a map of East Dallas, so let's just take the east side of Dallas. Far east out of Dallas is Garland. That's where my family lives now. They used to live in East Dallas. So it goes Garland. When you come inside of East Dallas, just the east side of the city, there's like Bryan Adams High School, which is like a 5A school. And then there's White Rock Lake. And then to the west of White Rock Lake is Woodrow Wilson. That's where Lakewood, that area. North of that is Lake Highlands. That's Pearson Independent School, Plano Independent School District. And then west of that is Highland Park. That's the wealthiest neighborhood in maybe like top 10 wealthiest neighborhoods in America. But I'm not even 4 miles south of that. You're in a crack infested ghetto. Like it's really, I can't even explain. I don't know. I'm sure there are other cities that are like Dallas.
I actually know what that's like to some degree. I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm
okay. There you go.
Yeah. So you have that very commonly. You have certain neighborhoods that are very nice. You step one block over and it's absolute shit.
Yeah. So the other thing you have to understand is like, this is, I'm going to high school from 92 to 96. So this is the middle of the crack epidemic. And it's mostly southern cities where this is happening. So this is San Diego. This is happening. So Matamoros is where they're smuggling drugs over the border in Mexico. So Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. Like Baton Rouge was terrible, bro. It was super dangerous. Dallas was really bad. At one point, I want to say like I want to say like 90, 91, Oak Cliff was probably one of the highest murder rates in the entire country. And again, a lot of people don't know this because like they just think of like Detroit and Baltimore being terrible,
Chicago.
but Dallas, yeah, well, they think about it like that. But during the crack epidemic, it was a lot of southern U.S. cities that were infested because that's where they were coming up through the border, and you had all this product moving through there. I had I have a friend of mine that I went to high school with. He got out of jail 3-4 months ago. Dude, well, I'm 42 years old. He went to jail for 10 years for possession. And a lot of people, and I really never talk about this part of my life, but it was like one of these situations where I would literally I would go to high school in like fucking Beirut, and I would come home and I would try to tell my parents, I'm like, I can't believe you're letting me go to this high school. Like I remember, because I didn't learn anything. Like we would be sitting there, they would pass out the answers to the exams, all this kind of shit. And then like, it was like, we'd have the football team, we'd have fights every day. And it was just like, they weren't productive fights. It wasn't like, I knocked, a late hit type of fight, anything, just fights for no fucking reason. And it was just a very different experience. And then when I went to college, when I graduated from high school, I was like 35th in my class or something like that. I didn't try at all. But I think we graduated. So Woodrow Wilson, up to that point, I don't think had not graduated 100 students in one class in something like 20 or 30 years, something like that. And we are a 1,500 person school. Our vice principal went to prison. I do remember that. And then also, I believe the superintendent of the DISD also went to prison during the time I was there too. Embezzlement. Yeah. You guys can probably look that up. There's probably more details of that, but I know our vice principal did go to prison. So it was like people just don't like, they just don't understand. I remember telling my mom that my best friend was shot, and I don't know if it ever I don't think it ever registered with her that what was going on. My brother went to Booker T. Washington, which is it was an arts magnet school. So it was like, I was learning how to like dodge crack dealers, and he was learning how to roll blunts, because that's what you learn at the arts mag. You learn how to roll blunts. I used to joke with him all the time, except I wasn't joking, like for real. Like he smoked a lot of weed out there. So now, when I got accepted to UT Austin, I knew I was smart. I just nobody challenged me in high school. When I went to Texas, bro, I was on academic probation after the first semester because I didn't know how to study. I didn't know what studying meant. I didn't know what that was. I remember when I got a tutor, and I was just scared shitless about being like, the idea that, dude, there are PhDs and like MDs in my family. The idea of me not making through college wasn't even a possibility. So I studied my ass off my second semester, and then I ended up, 4 years there. And the other thing that was kind of weird for me is that I was used to such a multiracial environment in high school that when I went to UT Austin, it was just nothing but white people there. And I didn't mind that.
All white people.
Yeah, it's UT Austin. Is vast majority is white. So it wasn't that like I didn't mind it or whatever, but I found an all Black Christian fraternity and I joined it. And I just to have like just some different culture in my life, just some, what I'm saying? And so it was, and I was heavy in the church back then too. I went and I did that. And so 4 years at Texas. And when I graduated from college, I was working the door at a nightclub, like my last year. So this would have been 2000. This is the millennium, like Y2K. I watched it happen while I was working at this nightclub. And then MCI, WorldCom, and Enron go out of business. The .com crash happens around the same time. Like we're in a couple of years of each other. So when I graduate from college, there are no jobs, period, nothing. And I'm working at this nightclub, and this one of the bartenders, she's this gorgeous bartender with like fucking icy blue eyes, look like Liv Tyler, like just so fucking pretty. And she's getting her PhD in pathology. What's it called? Forensic pathology. She was going to go.
It's funny from the Bradley podcast. You had this. You told the same story, and it took you this. You forgot exactly what you did, and you got it back.
Yeah, it was a forensic pathology. Yeah. So she's like, "Hey, I'm stripping to pay for my PhD." So I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Where?" She goes, "I strip over at Expose. Expose is gone now. They went out of business for not paying their taxes or whatever." And she goes, "They need a DJ. Do you want to come up and apply to be a DJ?" So I go up there, and they're like, "No." Like the first couple minutes I'm there, they're like, "There's no way this is not going to work." And then by the end of the hour, they give me the job. Like I just kind of figured out what the pattern was.
But you knew how to DJ at that point to some degree?
No, if you're a DJ at a strip club, there's no DJing. You just talk on the microphone for 8 hours. It's like, it was kind of like the perfect job for what I do now. Because I have to talk and be original, extemporaneous for 8 hours. And so that's what I did on the microphone for 4 years as a DJ at a strip club. And I was getting paid all in cash. And while I was there, that was probably the first time I remember working at the strip club. Oh, by the way, you've seen the show, The Pickup Artist, with, Mystery and Matador and those, you know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, the pickup artists, but I read what's that book called again? The Game.
Yeah.
Mystery. You're talking about, so that's the same guy?
Yeah. So this is the same Mystery. Well, anyway, so he had a show on VH1 called The Pickup Artist. When I had joined the military, they filmed the first season of The Pickup Artist in Austin. And and one of the last things that the guys had to do on the show was go pick up a girl at a strip club. Well, it was my strip club that I used to work at. But when I watched the episode, I was living in Georgia at this point because, I think I was living in Georgia at this point because I had already, shipped out to the military. So it was the same place. Well, anyway, so when I'm working at the strip club, this is the first point where I'm in the locker room and I'm listening to people talk. And this is where like the very real realization of like, an individual, a beautiful woman says she wants one thing and then completely does something else. This is the first place where I see this. And I see it all the time. I see it over and over every day. And it's like the more beautiful they were, like the more bullshit they would tolerate, or like the more horrific or fucking Machiavellian or toxic their boyfriends would be. We didn't have the word toxic back then. We didn't.
There's so much to unpack here, bro. I can't wait to get into this. Okay.
Yeah. So I remember watching. I just remember like this is the first time I'd ever really seen a woman be a victim of domestic abuse. And I saw some crazy stuff. I remember, I have to search lockers sometimes at the club, and we find drugs in there and have to kick girls out. And it was just one of these situations where, like, I couldn't find a job. But
aren't most of the strippers doing shit? As long as you don't find it, it doesn't matter, I guess. But most of them are on shit, probably.
No drugs? No, I don't think. No, not a large percentage.
Not at least coke.
I would say on a regular basis. No, I would say on a regular basis, a little less than half are drunk, and the rest of them were completely sober. I say most of them don't do coke. No, they wouldn't do coke while they're working at Expose in Texas during the daytime. Not.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know enough about it, so I can't.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times there's like this very reductive belief, because I'm sure, like, I know the game in New York is very different. Because you guys have a lot more of like hardcore human trafficking issues, like let me hold on to your passport type of shit. Girl comes over, and like that kind of stuff is way more prevalent there than it was in Texas. We don't have a lot of that. We don't have a lot of that type of human trafficking in a strip club. Now, across the border, yes. And because I do a lot of work with human trafficking charities. So this is something that I like. That's awesome. I look into a lot. But in New York, up in the Northeast, it is a big thing. The Russian girl working at the strip club who basically has a pimp. That kind of thing is bigger there. So like, I think it might be different. Maybe those girls are doing coke all the time. I don't know. But where I worked, there would be a couple girls that would do coke, but it wasn't even 10% of them that were doing it on a regular basis. You really can't. It's really hard to make it like that. You know what I'm saying? To do a job like that for that long in that place. Here's the other thing. There are some places I've been to where like, a lot of the girls who dance are also like hooking on the side. Not where I worked. It definitely not in Vegas, not so much, because the girls make too much money. Now, in some other places I've been, like in Los Angeles, hell yes, they are. Yeah, for sure. But it just depends on like where you go. So that's why I always like kind of warn people. There's a real big misconception with me. People think because I know a lot of people who are on OnlyFans or girls that strip that I endorse it. I don't. Like, if you can't do it, don't do it. Like, I don't recommend this for everyone. I think it's problematic for a lot of people. Just think about like an oncologist might study cancer. That doesn't mean he endorses cancer, right? Or a pathologist might study the Spanish flu. That doesn't mean he endorses the Spanish flu. It's just he's something he wants to study. So for me, it was a situation where I watched this whole thing. And it was like, I could very quickly suss out toxic situations. And I could see like whenever
it's a bit of a different example. It's a bit of a different example, Mike. Like you're discussing you being friends with people who have an OnlyFans, which is perfectly fucking fine.
Yeah.
But you're not trying to go against their OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go. I'm saying
when you have a doctor trying to cure cancer, he's in clear opposition to the cancer.
Correct. Yeah. No.
But I hear the premise of what you're saying.
Okay. So clear opposition. Okay. Well, here we get ready. I'm an astrophysicist. I'm not in opposition to a black hole, but I know what one is. I also know it would kill all of us. Right. So it's just, when an astrophysicist studies black holes, there is no moral judgment. That's how I look at OnlyFans. Same kind of thing.
Now I see why you're an astrophysicist.
Yeah, for sure. So in college, I studied astronomy. as a minor. Now I couldn't get a minor technically because the business school at UT Austin would not let me get a minor, even though I had enough hours for it. So that was really my passion. Honestly, I kind of thought about switching degrees, but I thought, I'll make so much more money getting a business degree. And that was stupid because that didn't happen. So
didn't do shit. I had that have one too.
so 4 years there. And then that's when I started working at the strip club. That was the first time where I started going out with girls on a regular basis. Like girls would have a birthday party and I would go out with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 girls. And it wasn't, here's the other thing. It was very much high school all over again. The girls at one strip club didn't always fuck with the girls at the other strip club, but I did. So like a lot of times I'd be going out to a club and I'd have girls from like every strip club hanging out with me, when we would go out, just because I knew them all. And this was the first time I noticed, it was like, oh, when I do this, I get in everywhere. Everybody wants to know my name. Everybody's asking me for shit. It was a very interesting time.
You were getting paid for this at this point? You were still working?
No, I was just like, so I was working at the strip club, and then like at night I would go out and I would hit up the girls, be like, you guys want to go somewhere, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they just never felt threatened. So I would just take out big groups of girls with me all the time.
But you enjoy, did you often go with other guys? Would your buddies meet up with you?
Bro, this has always been an issue for me. Like I had 2 guy friends that I mainly went out with. One of them was one of the most violent men I've ever met in my entire life. This guy's gotten fist fights every time. He worked on an oil derrick.
I can't stand going out with people like that, bro. It's a fucking pain in the ass.
The other guy he played a nose guard at Baylor, and he's probably 6'1", 300. He was like, he could bench 500, and he and I would do jujitsu together. We would go out and I couldn't get in a fight if I wanted to. Like these guys were so crazy. For any of you, and I know this is a really hard example, but anybody who knows about growing up in Texas in the 90s, everyone was on steroids. Everyone was on steroids. Like you would go out in Austin and every bouncer was fucking this massive, like Trenbolone filled, greasy ass, balding motherfucker who was ready to fight every night. It was crazy back then. It was way worse then than it is now, because dudes didn't even know what they were doing back then. And like, it was nuts. So, I would go out and it would be like me. It would be like my buddy Philip, my buddy Troy, my buddy Dion, and then like 7 or 8 girls, right? Or 20 girls, something like that. That was just kind of a thing that I would do on a regular basis. And I would go to the other strip clubs and I would go to the other nightclubs. And I would just do this for free, because one of the things I wanted to do was get people to come to my strip club, because it was more fun for me when I was making money and when people came out there. But I did that for a couple of years, and then I saw 9/11 happen, and then that's when I decided to join the military.
I wasn't expecting a pause there. I thought there's a lot more to say.
Yeah. So yeah.
You've got interrupted, bro. You keep going.
I watched 9/11 happen while I was at the club, and then I applied. I had 2 frat brothers who had already joined. One was a Navy. He was a Navy 130 pilot, and then the other guy was EA-6B navigator for the Marine Corps. So I joined the Air Force. I was originally going to join the Marine Corps, but they didn't have any more officer slots. So I joined the Air Force I asked to be an intel officer because I don't really like flying, but I scored really high on the nav pilot section. So they made me a navigator. So I was a KC-135 instructor navigator. And I did that for like 7 years, but I lived in like, these aren't austere places, but to me, they were austere. Warner Robins, Georgia, and Wichita, Kansas. I mean, just like
Kansas is pretty bumblefuck, but
where fun goes to die, bro. That's where I was.
The only thing you do there is go cow tipping with some girl named Sally that you met.
Bro, that's where fun. Like, and I just remember like going from Austin, working at a strip club, to like living in Wichita. I just remember being like, this is crazy, man. It was just a very different experience. But that's when social media also started, 05 is about this time. I joined the military. In 05, I went through survival school, and I was stationed at Altus, Oklahoma, which is, by the way, two most boring places in all of the United States are Altus, Oklahoma, and Clovis, New Mexico. Like there's nothing. Even if you're in Wyoming, it's pretty. There's nothing pretty in Altus, Oklahoma. There's just tarantulas and fucking cobras or fucking snakes. There's nothing out there. So I lived there.
No scenic view, nothing. It's just flat.
Bro, you could stand on a can and you could see all the way to Oklahoma City. There's nothing. It's flat as shit. Right. So I'm sitting there. I remember I was in Oklahoma. It's really funny. I was so bored. I remember I became like top 300 in the world at Madden. Like I was playing in Madden tournaments online. This is when you first start playing online on Madden, and I would play. And I'm not trying to say I was great. There were exploits. You could like look up these like cheat ways to like nano blitzes and stuff, and I would just sit there and do that shit all day. Like it was a crazy time for me. But that's when I discovered Friendster, and then that's when I discovered Facebook or MySpace back in 05. Friendster, and then
I don't even know if I was well, what year was it?
2005.
I was a little nothing at that age. What was I?
Yeah.
12, 13?
Yeah. I was 20. I was 28. So I was, I was learning, I was sitting there I was worried because I knew, in the back of my mind, I have to become a better officer and become a better flyer because I'm going to get deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. So I knew I had to focus on that. But any kind of free time I had, I would just stay at home and play video games. That was it. Right. So it was an interesting time. I kind of saw that there's one that the lesson there was at some point, I don't care what self-improvement you do, you kind of have to be near the shit. If you just keep moving further and further away from the shit, it's just going to get harder. It's like the guy who lives in Connecticut and tries to pick up girls in the meatpacking district. At some point, you got to go home somehow. But you're so fucking far away that no matter what happens, you look like a serial killer trying to drag them home. At some point, I live on the strip. I live right next to me. I could take a football and hit the Aria. That's how close I live to the strip. I wish I lived closer. I can watch the F1 race that's coming from my balcony. That's how close I want to live to the strip. And for a lot of people, they're well, they get into a relationship and then the girl's well, let's go look at all this space. Let's move out to the suburbs.
So you want to live closer. You want to live in it.
I want to live in the middle of the shit, bro. I want to live in Da Nang. I want to live in the DMZ, bro. I want to get shot at every day. I want to live in the middle of the shit, bro.
Well, dude, when a woman gets into a relationship with somebody that lives in the center of the shit in the fucking party, naturally, what does she want to do? She wants to take him away from all of it and say, "Hey, sweetheart, get the fuck away from all this pussy. Yeah. Let's live in a cul-de-sac in suburbia."
Yeah. So it's gonna be a cul-de-sac in Summerlin or Henderson out here. And the further out you get, the more land, the more acres you get for the dogs. And there's a couple things, guys. If you ever want to know if this is you and this is happening to you, a couple things. There's gonna be an extra room for nothing. This was for the baby, even though she might not even think she wanted to have a baby. Okay. There's going to be a fence around the house. That's to keep the women out, just to let you know. That's not to keep anybody in. Okay. All right. Here's another one. Ready? Get ready for it. Guys, tell me if this has happened to you. There's some kind of dog that needs massive amounts of attention. Hip dysplasia, eczema, overbreeding. There's some sort of thing. I can't tell you. There's always the reason why they want you to get that big ass dog is because they need you to make sure you don't stay out all night. You got to come take the dog out. You got to make sure you take care of the dog so you're not out there, talking to these girls. And it's far, bro. They want you 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from everything else because having a house in the suburbs, that's her dream. That's not your dream.
I'll tell you the truth, bro. I definitely want to live in the suburbs. I grew up a city dude, man. I grew up in Brooklyn. I've been a city boy my whole life. I want to live near the city. I don't want to live in it. I just like the peace and quiet, man. Right now I live in Aventura. I live in Florida. I live in Aventura, Florida. It's North Miami. Gorgeous area.
I've been there. Yeah.
It's peaceful. There's stuff to do in the area, but it's
this is not even you don't live in the suburbs, man. So there's no farms out where you live. That's
rural, bro. But that's rural.
Okay, in the middle of the night. Okay, hold on. In the middle of the night from Aventura, how long does it take you to get to South Beach?
You just gave me that. You're okay.
How long does it take you to get to South Beach?
It's a trip, bro. It's with traffic, it could be close to an hour.
In the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. How long does it take you to get
25 minutes.
Yeah, it takes you 20. That's not that far. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not you still live. It's a
reasonable place. Yeah. No, so I don't want to live in bumblefuck nowhere, Wyoming.
I knew a girl who lived in Homestead, bro. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No, but also for me, man, it's important because I'm a pizza bagel. I'm Italian and Jewish, but I grew up more Jewish. So I always want to live near Jewish people because between you and you're a level-headed guy.
Yeah.
The Jewish world has great connections for business. It's also they're my family, we're like-minded, but yeah, man, for business purposes, especially I want to
that's the middle of the shit for you. Then that's where you want to live for sure. That's where you want to live. Again, if I was a financier, I would want to live near Wall Street. If I was into commodities, I want to live in Chicago. If I wanted to get into venture capital for tech firms, I would want to go live up in Northern California. Right. I'm just saying, in life, you want to live near the middle of the shit, right? I have some friends of mine, like Andrew Cobra Tate, right? He lives in Romania, and I'm like, bro.
Oh, you know him, man, dude. You know the guy?
Yeah,
I would love to get him on the podcast, man. I really want to interview the guy.
He just texted me the other day. He's coming on a podcast. Cobra, but he lives in Romania, and he's like, man, the U.S. is done. And I was like, all right, man, if you say so. And then he'll see me on because I host this bikini competition. He's like, I need to come to the U.S. I was like, yes, you do. Yes, you do, buddy.
You host his bikini competitions?
No, I currently host the biggest bikini competition in the world. I host the Playboy Yandy Summer Search at Wet Republic. It's for $130,000. So I host that. And then I host Babes in Toyland, which is a huge charity for models to help raise money for animal rescue, domestic trafficking, human trafficking. We send care packages to troops overseas. We have a toy drive for underprivileged children. So I just basically have all these girls help me raise money for these different charities. And then, so I was playing, I don't know if you can see the big welt on my forehead. I was playing paintball. I was playing paintball at Dan Bilzerian's house like 2 nights ago.
Outside in the backyard or inside the house?
No, in the backyard. Yeah, he has a full-on professional paintball.
Because I wouldn't put it past the guy. I don't actually know him, you do, but I wouldn't put it past the guy to.
Yeah, just look on. If you look on, you could probably Google his house. You can see the paintball field on the satellite map. But yeah, amazing. Man, my buddy, he's coming on the podcast on Wednesday. J-Rock. He was one of the guys used to be on the Real World. He runs a club out here. He's the one who shot me in the head. He told me, he's like, I was like, motherfucker, you shot me in the head. But yeah, no. Well, I forgot what I was talking about originally before I got to this point. But
we were talking about a lot of things. We were talking about Andrew Tate. We were talking about So Cobra, he likes living way the fuck out in Romania. I have a lot to say about that, by the way, dude. I watch a lot. So I watch a lot of the red pill stuff, and we're gonna go into a lot of this, man. I'm a young guy. I'm 28, but honestly, man, I don't hang out with 30 women at a time. I'm in a different place. I'll explain what I mean.
Yeah,
but listen, I'm by no means a blue pill guy, so to speak, and I didn't need to watch all this content.
No, nobody thinks they're. I mean, I don't think you're a blue pill black guy, but nobody thinks they're a blue pill guy, right?
Yeah,
nobody. There's no like t-shirts for blue pill guys.
But there's no day. You could say like,
come get cut. Join blue pill.
When you know, man. When you know. Like I've experienced enough where once I heard Rollo Tomasi and a lot of these guys, Rich Cooper. I've even watched the Fresh and Fit podcast a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So I just talked to Fresh CEO a couple of days ago. I was going to try to go because I'm going this Saturday to host Babies in Toyland in Miami, and I was going to try to bring a bunch of the girls on Fresh and Fit on Friday, but I can't make it in time because of the bikini competition. So I may go, and I've been talking to Andrew, and he said he may want to just go on with me the next time I go to Miami. But the thing about it is, what was I talking about? What we were referring to before?
Well, I wanted to get a little bit into this whole.
No, I remember what I was saying. So first time I read The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi, I was so impressed because as a theoretician, I'm talking about a scientist. I consider myself in all things to be a scientist. I don't have a PhD, but I consider myself to be a scientist. I want to disprove my hypothesis. I thought that the stuff he said made a lot of sense. Okay. Now, there were two things where I thought he was not wrong, but lacking. Number one, you can be friends with women. That is categorically incorrect. You absolutely, I don't care what they say. They can say whatever they want. They just can't explain away me.
Here's my caveat. Caveat. I think that what you do is very intelligent because your goal, and this is how I perceive it, and this is what Dan Bilzerian does. You put yourself in a predicament. You're both good looking guys. Or let's put Dan aside for a second. You're a good-looking guy. You're charismatic. You have a deep voice. You carry yourself very confidently. There are a lot of character traits about you that are already attractive to women, and I think what you've been able to do is create an environment where a lot of women trust and like you, so they automatically are going to relay that to any other women they know, and you put yourself in a position where they, in a sense, became the men in your dynamic. Yeah. Where you're now the woman. So you're not the woman. You're still a man in the same respect.
You
are now what they're seeking. You've become the commodity.
Exactly.
You've become the commodity.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I think at the end of the day, and I very confidently say this, you don't expect to fuck all them by any means, because at the end of the day, you know that if you wanted to, you could probably have sex with if not all of them, a large percentage. So I think at the end of the day, if none of them, and not a single woman you hung out with, if all of them friend zoned you first, I don't know if it'd be that same dynamic.
That doesn't happen. So that's a really good point. The ones that friend zone me first are zero. That never happens. I'm never going to let.
But it's not really platonic, brother, because at the end of the day, many of them probably would like to either date or have sex with you. Date you.
That's fine. So let's look at it like that, because this is real good, real easy way to explain it. You're correct.
See, Brad didn't even go into this. This is let's do this.
So I friend zoned them. You're correct, right? But here's the other part.
Because you can.
Here's the thing. Like, well, I get this question all the time. It's like, okay, Michael, how do I game these girls into thinking I'm their friend? I'm like, that's not what I said, dude. I said, actually be their friend. They're like, okay, Michael, cool. How do I convince them that I'm their friend? I'm like, motherfucker, you're not listening. Like, this is really hard for dudes to understand, because they think that
I completely understand your thought process, but to them, they're almost too methodical. You have a much more, you're calculated, but your approach is much more lax. You're not, let me be friends. It happens because of the dynamic that you set in place.
Well, that happens because it's the same dynamic as it is with men. Like the bikini competition I hosted yesterday, I put all the girls in a circle. We put our hands in the middle, just like I did when I was the captain of the football team. And I was cussing at them like, we're going to get this motherfucking money. And I'm screaming at them. And the girls were like, fuck yeah. And I'm like, let's say Playboy on 3, 1, 2, 3, Playboy. And we rush out onto the stage. Like I'm a high school football coach.
What you really are is you're their daddy. That's what you really are to a large degree.
I think older, maybe older brother. I don't know about daddy, because we have a saying in MOA in my program. It's my job it's our job to protect them, but it's not our job to save them. It's our job to protect them. It's not our job. It's like I walked in.
Okay, so they're older brother, but I would stay away from older brother, because I don't think they see you that way. I think you're saying they do, and I'm saying maybe some of them do. I think some of them understand that there may never be anything more than a friendship.
Well, for sure, Rafi. But here's the thing, like. Yeah. You're guessing as to whether or not they want to sleep with me, and that's none of my business, right? All I can control is what I'm doing, right?
So I'm saying that but you know at the end of the day.
Of course they want to sleep with me. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but that's not the issue. The issue is what my job running Men of Action is not to. My job running Men of Action is to get you as many options as possible, so you can go in any direction you want. A man who is good at finding a girlfriend is good at finding a girl. It's not, there's no it's not the technique to finding a girlfriend. It's you are not attractive to the right woman. You're attractive to all women. This is a big problem. This is why I hate that movie Hitch with fucking Will Smith. That movie should be called How to Be a Stalker.
Because it's extremely ironic that Will Smith was the actor, and you see what's happening now.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, hey, Will, teach me how to stalk this one woman and to make her love me. This is the creepiest goddamn movie ever, right?
These movies are absolute complete opposites of what happens in real life.
Of course, and that's why I'm grateful for working in the strip club when I did, to see like the dirty, like how the sausage was made, like how the dirty, nasty part of it, so that later on in life, I'm just not confused whenever I see things. Whenever things happen with my buddies, I'm like, oh, let me tell you what's about to happen. She's about to leave you. And this is the reason why she's about to leave you. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then so anyway, going back to Rollo Tomasi thing.
By the way, I find myself, hold on. I'm younger than you. So, obviously there's life experience, but I find myself being that guy with a lot of my guy friends where I'm like, this is what's happening right now.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. For any of you who are confused, you're like, well, how do you gain that intuition? Very simple. Read every book on evolutionary psychology. All of it shall reveal itself to you. If you just do that, if you just read books specifically on evolutionary psychology, you skip all the behaviorism, you skip anything to do with fucking zodiac signs or negative energy. Get rid of all that shit, all the trauma release shit, forget all that stuff. And you just stick to evolutionary psychology, all shall make sense to you. So, but anyway, talking about Rollo, because I hope to interview him.
By the way, I've been talking to him, and he's coming very soon to Miami.
Okay.
So
nice.
hopefully if he comes, you can get in touch with him through Fresh and Fit as well. They know him. They know him a lot better than I do. I don't even know the guy yet, but I DM'd him. He responded. He agreed to come on. So if I get him, obviously I'll definitely connect you.
Okay, for sure. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
So the thing with the book is, when I read the book, I was like, wow, this is really thoughtfully written. But when I listen to him talk, I feel like he talks like he's annoyed and his fans talk like they're angry. And that part I don't share, because I'm not annoyed with women and they don't make me angry, because what they do is a function of evolutionary psychology. I would rather just know the truth. Does that make sense? I think this is like where
I don't think Rollo is pissed. I think people misunderstand him. I think a lot of the guys who watch all of these shows.
There you go. Sure.
A lot of the guys who watch all these shows take what they say and misconstrue what they say.
I don't think
they are annoyed.
Rollo's
They're definitely
pissed.
annoyed.
I don't think Rollo's pissed. I think some of the times when he calls out women, so here's the like big difference just with Rollo and Fresh and Fit is like on their show, they have women on there and they're like, do you see that you don't do this and you don't do this and you're not going to get a man because you don't do this, this, and this. And with me, I'm like, I'm not trying to change them. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Like I could, because here's my personal belief. None of these women are going to like, I want
here's the thing. Real quick, you're in a totally different place because they don't give a fuck. Quite frankly, they don't give a fuck who they offend, who doesn't like them.
Right.
They're going to say what they're going to say, and they're going to give up a lot of potential options for that. And I think they
maybe,
know that.
yeah. No, I could
your case is you're taking a much more unbiased, non-judgmental approach, even though you probably have your opinions in the back of your mind. You're like, I want these women to get along with me. And I'm sure you, at the end of the day, if some chick is crazy, you're not going to tolerate it because you don't have to. You have the options. But at the same time, I don't think you're looking to bring that friction into your relationships with these women.
Yeah,
these
for sure.
guys, on the other hand, are on a fucking mission. They're like, I don't care who doesn't like me.
Well, they're crusaders. But they're crusading. But what I would like it is for them to be like,
they're on the altar.
So like Myron will put a girl down, and like the stuff he says is true. It is true. But what I want is 6 months later to have her back on and be like, Myron, I listened to what you said, and it helped change my life. And he never does that. I never see that on their show. That's the point I mean about being a crusader.
They have actually. They've had a couple of girls. But you know what it is? I think I agree with most of what they say. And I think the reality is that a lot of women who hate on it, with a very common girl, like a lady character trait is, it's all primal, is it's not that they're offended necessarily at what you said, it's how you said it.
Sure.
That's a lot. You know what I mean? So if you said it in a certain way that didn't sound so offensive, even if it really hit them in the gut a little, they'll be like, okay, he didn't mean it so badly. But when you go in on them and you say something with no filter, then they're like, oh my God.
You'll get a lot of guys commenting on that live stream though, when you do that. Like for instance, for me, when Myron says stuff like, it's a healthier relationship is when a man leads and a woman follows. I know a lot of traditional relationships, and he's right. In those traditional relationships, when a man leads and a woman follows, that's correct. However, I'm not going to yell at women who don't let men lead. That's not my mission. My place is just to fix my block and my clique. Those are the only people I care about. Yeah, that's where I mission. I'm not a crusader like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're putting themselves on, like, they're totally crucifying themselves for this, but they're very passionate about it. I think, well, first off,
like the other thing is when, the whole thing where he like told that one girl, hey, if you want to come on the podcast, you need to have sex with me. I'm not platonic with anybody who comes on the podcast. You remember that fitness model, Amber something, that he was talking to? You remember what I'm talking about?
I don't know that. I didn't know.
There was a huge controversy where Myron was like, there's screenshots where he was like, hey, you can come on the podcast, but just to let you know, I'm not going to do this for nothing. I'm not going to be platonic. So we have to have sex. I completely don't agree with doing that. Like I've never.
If that happened, that's 100% wrong for sure.
Right.
I think that there's a dynamic where they do it so much. So here's the thing. This is the challenge is going to be for both of them. Yeah. Because they're so mentally focused on this red pill thing. It's their whole life. They're automatically going to be constantly on guard with women. And I think they're going to both have an extremely hard time getting into something long-term, because any woman who decides to date them is going to have to deal with all the hate that comes with it. And second of all, I think guys like that are always going to be very guarded with any woman they date. Like, she's doing this because of this and doing this because of that. And I think you and I will have those thoughts for sure. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think that every woman's out to get me. I don't think they think that either necessarily, but because their whole life's focus is on this particular topic, it's going to be very hard for them, I think, to have more of a subconscious, natural, fluid relationship.
Yeah, I can see that, maybe.
Yeah, but again, I do agree with a lot of the stuff they say, bro. Like a lot of the stuff they say, I resonate with.
What I'm saying is, I agree with the stuff that they say too.
Right.
The stuff that's based in evolutionary psychology. What I'm saying is, when people do things that they don't agree with, I don't agree with, the acrimony towards them. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. I hear what you're saying. So
that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't hate people who don't agree with me. Is what I'm saying. I have people on my podcast all the time that don't agree with me.
No, I think they respect people who don't agree. They might not treat them as well as they should. But I think that, I don't know. I think they're just very blunt.
That's what acrimony means. You know, like right. I just wouldn't like, I have one girl's coming on and she's saying crazy shit. Like, oh, you know what? Really, men should all be open to like letting their girl fuck multiple guys at the same time. And the only reason you don't do it is because society has pressured you to not feel that way. And I tell this girl, like, no, you're just wrong. You're just not correct. Like I want her on the show because I want her to say that shit on camera. It's insane to me. Like, I think what she's saying is completely fucking wrong.
Whoa, but so backtrack. You're saying that she believes it's okay she should be able to sleep with other men.
No. She whether or not she should sleep with other men, it's America. She can do whatever she wants. She believes that the reason why a man would not be comfortable with it is that all men in general would be comfortable with it, but they're insecure. Exactly.
It is because that's a gaslighting. That's just gaslighting.
Of course, it's ridiculous. Yes, of course.
That's just
of course, I agree with you.
But what's great, Mike, is that you'll have men who are so low on the totem pole that would lick this girl's feet.
Oh, she's fine. She's fine as shit. Bro, she's fine as shit. Yeah.
There are a lot of men. There are a lot of men that will do anything this girl wants. Mm-hmm. So absolutely treat them like crap. It's funny how many men will do that. That's the sad part. Women are so much more intuitive. They're so much more in tune with their feelings, with their guts. They notice energies. Most guys are just so oblivious to all of this.
Oh, well, I think there's another thing at play. I think social media bifurcated the male gender into two species. There is social media indicating some men have access to scarce resources, and social media clearly showing that other men do not. So whereas in 1985, the guy with the Lambo had an advantage over you, now the guy with the Lambo in 2022 has a 10x advantage over you because of social media. And what's happened is, and this is one thing I really make my clients understand very, very strongly, is that like you as a man, you're always going to be judged on your performance. I got that from Rolo, right? So in this situation, these guys are like, well, I'm just going to be this introverted, cool guy and act masculine, and I'm just going to do man to woman pickup techniques, and then women will like me. And I'm like, no, they won't, because they're at Bilzerian's house with me. They don't give a fuck about you or anything that you're doing, and they all hang out with me because they love my social media, because I focus on this thing that I knew was effective. Any dude right now who's single, who is not hammering social media, bro, you are really shooting yourself in the dick. You just, because, and the thing is, it's going to get as bad as it is now. It's going to get worse, because what would happen was you'd grow up in Wichita, Kansas. You go to college, you become a dentist, you make a couple $100,000 a year, open your own practice. And then you'd meet some really hot girl, after she's in college or whatever. And that hot girl and you would get married and have kids in Wichita, Kansas. What's happened now is that girl, as soon as she turns 18, she sees parties in LA. She's being invited to Coachella. She's been invited to EDC, and she's getting ran through by 20 or 30 dudes in Los Angeles. And you never get to her because you live in Wichita, bro. That's what happens. And these dudes don't hear what I'm saying. They don't understand that their dream girl that they think is different from other girls is with me at Bilzerian's house, or is with me at the Playboy Mansion. Dude, I'm sitting there watching girls that you guys think are good girls fucking in the grotto. You don't understand. The dudes who have social media are so far above you now. If you don't have it,
it's crazy.
But you have to focus on it. You have to, bro. It's like the rich get richer. Yeah.
Here's the thing. It depends on what you're seeking. If you're looking to have unlimited casual sex throughout your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, having social status, having presence in social media will be the be all end all. Absolutely. If you're looking for something more, like for me, I'm not sitting here saying I'm an innocent guy, but I do eventually want to have a family sometime soon. So in that case, I'm not so focused on that. Like
I'm telling you, the probability of you meeting a wife would increase dramatically if you did focus on social media.
I would agree with you, but it's a little different for me, because I'm only going to marry a Jewish girl, and
perfect.
I can't speak for Christian or Muslim, but I know that in the traditional Jewish world, even if people aren't religious, there isn't all of that, like, blue check mark, yada yada. Like, it's in my.
I'm not talking about blue check mark, man. I'm talking about.
But either
anything.
way, all of this social status isn't really so common, and more of the traditional kind of.
Okay, but hold on, Rafi. I still do believe you do want to marry an attractive woman. Is that correct?
For sure.
Okay, but but the attractive women that that aren't on Instagram, go ahead and point to them, because I'd like to know who they are.
Jewish girls, plenty of them.
That are not on Instagram at all.
if they are on Instagram, they have very small channel. Like most of them have maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000, 60. Are there Jewish girls?
But I bet you I will find their Instagram. I bet you they will have thirst traps just like everybody else if they're pretty.
It depends who they are. There are definitely ones who do, without a question. But I'm kind of with Myron on this, man. Like if I date a girl and there's a difference between having pictures in a bikini and having pictures in a bikini. If I have a girl, if I'm looking to date, I'm very conservative in that way, man. Like when I'm single, my rules are not the same. When I'm dating somebody, I'm a lot stricter with what I.
Oh, dude, I don't disagree with anything you're saying.
It changes, man. Like if I have a girl posing on Instagram inappropriately, I'm not even going to date her. I'm not going to try to date her and change her, tell her to take shit off.
You remember Myron? So Myron talks about, he's Muslim, and Myron talks about if he's with a girl, he has a girlfriend, she shouldn't even have an Instagram. Do you guys remember that? You remember that when he said that?
Yeah, so I don't agree with that.
Well, okay, he said that, and that's why he bases that. Now, here's the thing I'm gonna tell you. Most girls that I talk to that are super, 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 super fine, of course, they're never gonna go with that. They're not gonna go with that, right? But the thing with Myron is he's also not wrong. For what he's looking for, that works for him. And I don't begrudge him that. But I do know that there's a group of girls that I would introduce him to that are very beautiful that would not go for that. So it just, you kind of have, hey, hold on, Rob, let me make it real simple.
This is great though. Keep going.
Here's the line of delineation. Ready? Here's the line of delineation. Okay. Because nobody's wrong here. It's just for what you want for your life. Ready? I'm gonna ask you a question.
100%.
I'm gonna ask you one question, and this one question is going to answer whether or not you come with me or not. Ready? Rafi, it's 1998. Okay. We're out here partying. Are you going to come with me to the Playboy Mansion or not?
Damn straight I will.
Oh, hold on. Don't say it that quick. Because when we go to the Playboy Mansion, we're going to go hang out with some girls. When we go with the girls, do you think the girls are going to pay attention to us or Sylvester Stallone?
How old are we? How old are all of us?
What does it matter? We're in our prime. Fuck it. Let's make it 2015. 2015.
To be honest with you, bro, Sylvester Stallone's going to get the attention in the beginning, but are they going to sleep with him over me? Depends how old he was. Age depends.
Okay, whatever. Justin Timberlake, Machine Gun Kelly. You name whoever you want.
Machine Gun Kelly, even, bro. Like
Post Malone, whoever. It doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
I was at Bilzerian's house. Machine Gun Kelly's getting his dick sucked by two girls at the same time, right in front of all of us. Okay,
in front of everybody.
Not in front of everybody. He's behind the bathroom in this one spot. Anyway, point I'm trying to make is, you say you want to come to the Playboy Mansion. Well, if you want to come with me to the Playboy Mansion, I need you to understand that when you come there, you're going to get pushed and shoved around. You're going to get fucking little man everywhere you go. It's good. Right. You are playing the big boy game. Okay. So the equivalent to that is, if you want to do it, if you're ambitious enough where you want to come with me to the Playboy Mansion, because I used to go all the time. If you want to come with me to the Playboy Mansion, then you need to understand I ask the question, should you be posting on social media to attract a bevy of different types of women? The answer is the same answer is yes. Okay. If you're like, well, I don't want to go to the Playboy Mansion because those aren't the type of girls I like because they pose or whatever.
Oh, I don't. But here's the thing. But there's a very clear answer to this. If my goal is to get laid, now I understand that there are going to be guys socially that are so high above me on the totem pole in terms of social proof and yada yada. That doesn't bother me though, because I'm aware of it. It's like I'm not going to take that to heart. Because at the end of the day, I know that I'll have my options regardless. Will I be the most important person in this room? Maybe not. So be it. I really couldn't care less.
But where I think you and I differ is that you think that there's so this is what we like to say. Status is status is status. We confuse this. The highest approval rating that President Clinton ever had was when he got his dick sucked by his intern. You have a former president who was fucking a porn star and then was elected to be president right afterwards. Crazy. Status is status is status. Ready? Raphael, let me ask you something. Who can get in front of more venture capitalists? You or me or Jake Paul?
Jake Paul, without a question.
Okay, Jake Paul makes funny, stupid ass prank videos on Vine. How come he could get in front of more venture capitalists?
More people know him.
No, because status is status.
I don't argue this at all. Nothing you're saying is incorrect, dude. I couldn't agree more.
Being attractive in general is how you be attractive for specifics. That's the point I'm trying to make. So this idea that I want to attract a certain type of woman, I'm telling you, even those type of women, if you had I don't want you to have an Instagram like mine. Don't have an Instagram like mine. But if you have an Instagram that shows access to scarce resources and shows some wanderlust and some travel lust and shows that you are a cool guy, you will be attractive to all types of women, not just, you know, the type of women that you're looking for.
You're 100% right. They're going to find you attractive, but there are going to be a large percentage of women that are going to be very cautious about dating you long term because they see the kind of lifestyle you live. So they might want to fuck you.
I've never found that to be an issue. If I have sex with a woman, whether or not we have a long-term relationship is up to me. It's not up to her. I've never had that issue.
There's definitely more traditional conservative women that are going to be like, this dude's hanging out with 20 women in his pictures. I don't know. They might want to bang you. They might even cheat on their husband and bang you. But will they date you long term? That's a hard thing.
If I give them the option, they generally always say yes. Like, it's not really because I'm telling you, man, attraction is not a choice. This idea that, like, dude, you're a man who I think can make rational decisions about who you date. The next woman I meet that makes rational decisions about who he dates will be the first one. Okay. I see women, dude. I have a friend of mine right now. She's an FHM cover model. She's gorgeous as shit. And she's fucking dating this dude who cheats on her all the fucking time. And she knows it's happening. This idea that, like, somehow she's
Why is she doing
it? Because she's attraction's not a choice. She's a woman. It's just whatever dopamine, serotonin hit that she gets from being around this motherfucker. That's what's happening. Like that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, for us, like, a woman I was joking the other day. I was like, women don't care how you feel. They do not give a shit how you feel, but women do care how you make them feel.
I agree with that so much, by the way.
And it doesn't make any difference. Like, this idea, this belief that it's like, he's wrong, like that women would look at a man, say, he's wrong for me, therefore I won't date him, when she's feeling outrageous attraction for him, is ridiculous, dude. It's not true. Juliet drank that fucking poison, bro. That women will do whatever if you make them feel some kind of way, period. So you can't start thinking, well, I'm attractive, but there's too many women around. And so because of that, nobody wants to settle down with me. I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, and no one's around more women than me, except for Bilzerian. I never had.
There's no question, man. Dan Bilzerian, there are women that will not date the guy. There are women that can think pragmatically enough to look at him and say, I'd like the guy. He's rich. He's good looking. He has a great beard.
If you met the women who wanted to be in a relationship with him, one of them's she's getting her master's in biomedicine. Dude, I cannot disagree with you more. He has the option to girlfriend up almost any one of these women if he wants, because his status is so overwhelming to them, dude. The women that you would consider them to be a good girl, like, seriously, when you meet them, like, it's not this situation. I know it's easier for us to believe that he has a different type of status and attraction. No, status is status is status. Elon Musk is a tech billionaire who could get any woman in the world he wants. What does that one have to do with the other? So let me give you an example, right? If I win an Academy Award, and then after I win an Academy Award, I go out to a restaurant, and when I'm in the restaurant, everybody stands up, starts applauding me for winning the Academy Award, and then they pay for my dinner. Did I work on building my status in order to get a free dinner, or did I just work on my status?
Yeah, just worked.
Just worked on my status, bro. That's the point I'm trying to make. People think I'm working on my status for women, working on my status to be a venture capitalist. No. Again, Jake Paul can get in front of more venture capitalists than you can, and Elon Musk can date hotter women than you can, because status is status is status. And when you understand that, then you can kind of let go of this idea. Well, because I work in this certain industry, unless you have a top secret government clearance and you work for the government, unless that, and you literal punitive penalties for you posting certain things. Other than that, you do need to understand that if a man can go fuck Stormy Daniels and become president of the United States, you really don't have that much to worry about. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, dude, you're valid, but there's a certain, listen, dude, I feel like we're very much in agreement on the status part. I think most women will want to date people with absolutely high status. Then you have somebody like Bill Gates and even Elon Musk. They might have high status, but are the women necessarily attracted to the guy the same way they're attracted to someone like Dan Bilzerian?
So Bill Gates, no. Bill Gates, no. Elon Musk, yes. Bill Gates, no. Elon Musk is
intelligence.
Yes, Elon Musk is incredibly. Elon Musk might be the most ubiquitous. Maybe Cristiano Ronaldo would be higher. Ubiquitously most attractive due to women right now in 2022, if they were stocks, I think Elon Musk would have the highest stock. And it's not because of the money either. Because Grimes wants to fuck him and other hot women want to get with him. And he says funny shit and he's incredibly confident. And he takes people who hate on him and he shoves shit right in their face. I think because of that, I think he is the most attractive, but it's not just because of the money. Bill Gates, it would just be because of the money.
Right. So I think, yeah, I hear you. No, listen, at the end of the day, status is huge. I don't know. I'm not, it's also it's a lot of time. Like when you're spending time with all these women, it's a lot of focus. Do you prefer it? Also, first of all, it takes, like Brad was saying, dude, it's not something you see every day. Not every guy could do it if they wanted to. Most men
Right.
can't.
Mhm.
So that's another thing. So I give you props for being able to do that. There's no hate here. It'd be ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like that's a time not time sensitive. It takes a lot of your time. You're
Yeah.
hanging out with women constantly.
So, Bilzerian's book is called The Setup, right? And I was the first person to interview him about it. Because I was the first person to finish his book because he hand delivered it. He lives a couple blocks from me. And so when I read the book, one of the things you need to understand is with this setup. So I also work for a stock option brokerage and I work at a hedge fund.
But what's
I
your
would
goal
tell
with this though? Is your goal to get unlimited ass? Is your goal
for women?
to-
No. If you want to know, like ultimately what my goal is I have found a way to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for different charities using incredibly beautiful women, and everybody wins. And the feeling I feel afterwards,
but is that the genuine reason why you do it?
the feeling I feel afterwards, bro, is the equivalent to winning a football game. I can't even explain it because the satisfaction from, like, I'm not going to go into this because we have rule number 6 in the Men of Action program. I'm not going to talk to you about my sexual exploits. I have enough sex with enough women to where if I don't need to have sex with any more women, I'm good. Okay. Obviously I will, but like,
I don't know if that's accurate at all, bro.
How much sex have I had with women? Enough. That's
enough. I think though that at the end of the day, bro, you could have sex with 500 women. If you're 40 years old, you're not going to be content with. It's not about the number anymore. You're going to need it. You need it.
It's for sure.
If you're not in a relationship, you need that attention. You need that
for sure.
That physical touch. You need the sex. Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, you were alluding to that there's some other motive, and to me, the motive right now is we're trying to raise money for animal rescue. I have 3, bro. I'm not kidding. Listen, look. Nobody wanted him. Nobody.
Oh, that's
bro.
Cute.
Nobody wanted
cat.
Him. I have 3. I rescue cats, bro.
Dude, I have that's funny, man. I have a cat. My grandmother, my grandmother has dementia, so I took our childhood cat. She's a little 14-year-old old lady.
He's 3. He's 19 pounds. Nobody wanted him. That's why I took him. I went to the place where he was staying. I was like, what's the cat that's never ever going to get rescued?
Let me see if I can find mine. If she's not hiding. Yeah, she's here.
Meow.
Here, here's this one.
Yeah, it's a boy.
It's a girl.
It's a girl.
You can see her. See her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I have friends of mine that have been abused or trafficked. Domestic abuse is a big thing or human trafficking. It's a big thing. So I work with the Shade Tree here in Las Vegas. The animal rescue thing. We're doing one in Miami on Saturday. We're hosting Babes in Toyland in Miami, and we're doing it for animal rescue. We do one for the Midnight Mission in Los Angeles, which is to get toys for charity. So I would think about this, right? I have the Men of Action program. That's like my 9-to-5 job. And then all of my free time. So I'm going to host Swimsuit USA's World Championship in Mexico. All of my free time is either getting my friends paid, getting my friends on covers, or raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity. I haven't been on a vacation in years, bro. Not like a real vacation. My vacation, like in September, I'm going to Jamaica for a week and I'm hosting a bikini competition with like 70 girls. That's what I'm doing.
But here's the thing. You are working, but to people that see you, you look like you're on a vacation 24/7.
Yeah, for sure.
Your life is doing
Agreed.
A bikini contest compared to somebody that works at PwC crunching numbers for.
Of course,
you're living.
And it pays pretty well too. It pays pretty well too.
I'm sure it does. Bro, listen, at the end of the day, as a single guy, you are living the life. Without a doubt, dude. Quite honestly, man, I haven't lived that kind of lifestyle to that magnitude, but I've lived my life. I've had my fun. Still, So it's you've been able to put yourself in a position that I've been in, but on steroids, because is it a girl?
Uh-huh.
Is that a Siamese mix?
Sure is, yeah. She has a bunch of health problems. When I got her, I had to have all her teeth taken out because she has stomatitis. She had a kidney infection.
She has no teeth right now?
No teeth. Yeah.
You have to feed her. You have to feed her liquids.
No, cats use their gums. Cats don't have molars. They don't chew with their teeth. Cats chew rats with their teeth. They don't chew like the kibble that they eat. They don't chew that with their teeth. They chew it with their. If you ever touch the top of a cat's mouth, the gums are hard.
Right, for sure. Yeah. I thought they'd chewed it with the sides. I thought they used their interesting. I always thought they used their molars.
They don't have molars. Yeah, they don't have molars like we do.
Well, not the molars, the canines, the canine teeth. I thought that's what they used.
To eat kibble? They don't need molars to eat kibble.
No, I just thought they used their teeth. I didn't think they used their gums. It's interesting.
They don't need teeth. Yeah, like you don't need teeth to eat soup. They don't need teeth to eat wet food. They don't need your teeth. You don't use your teeth to. You would use your molars to chew cereal, right? But they use their gums to chew cereal.
Interesting, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so cats, a lot of cats have these teeth problems. This is called stomatitis, where the stomach acid comes out and it causes like a bacterial infection or some kind of infection of the teeth. You have to have all the teeth removed.
Did you get the cats before or after you met Dan?
Way before. I've had cats for years. This is
that black one. He has his Persian.
That black one's number 9. Yeah. So yeah, but Dan has one cat right now. I think he has one. Yeah, I saw it the other day. But yeah, I mean, just back to what I'm saying. You're saying what the ultimate goal is. When I do Babes in Toyland on Saturday, we're going to raise so much money for charity, and I'm going to be up there with like some of the most beautiful women you've ever seen in your entire life. And I'm going to be on stage speaking and then getting people to go to this website and then raising money. Like before we did it for this, there was some homeless kids that lived in South Beach, and we did it for them. And like, to me, that's scoring a touchdown. To me, that's dunking a basketball. To me, that's what it is. As far as like the admiration or the gratification for women, I get that enough to where that doesn't need to be the goal from this. Does that make sense? Like there's enough of an abundance to where that's not an issue.
If it disappeared tomorrow, what would you do?
I mean, I think I have a skill set good enough to where it wouldn't disappear tomorrow. That makes sense.
No, but that wasn't my question. My point is, if it's a theoretical question, if your social media was dead and gone, and the women they would still hang out with you, even if your social media, even if you lost your Instagram, these girls would still hang out with you.
Some of them would, yeah. Some of them wouldn't know. Like there's no way the numbers, like look on my IG, there's no way I'd be hosting that party at the Wish Mansion with 54 girls. That's not possible. Without my social media, I took 116 girls to the Ignite party. That's not possible. I took 121 girrs to the map.
So how many women did Dan bring? If you brought 100 of them? Are you bringing Dan?
It was 2000. Yeah. So I think the last time I went to the Ignite party, I think this is what he told me. I think it was 400 dudes and like 2,100 girls, something like that. I think those were the numbers we were doing.
Fucking shit.
So I brought 120, something like that. I think.
Wait, how many men? How many men?
Me, I brought 0 men. It's me.
How many men were there? How many men were there at the party?
Maybe 400, maybe fewer.
2,100 women.
I think because when I'm trying to think here. I remember it's funny because I saw JaVale McGee and Devin Booker the last time I was there. And then I saw, what's his name? Bruce Buffer was there, Machine Gun Kelly, Jake and Logan Paul were there.
Bruce Buffer getting a blowjob would be one of the funniest things in there. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And the shaft. Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah. And then when he wasn't at that house anymore and Wish took it over, I started throwing photo shoots at that house afterward, 10979 Shalon Drive. So yeah, man, I mean, it's just a situation where for a lot of people, like going back to the original thing we were talking about, when I friend zone them, you're saying, well, it's not platonic because the girls like me or girls, that's their business. If they like me or not like me, of course,
but it's still not platonic, dude. Like it's
not. But from my standpoint, it is. Like, what does it matter if it is or not?
It doesn't matter if it is or not. But the whole idea of platonic friendships, I don't buy into. By the way, I think you can rationalize and choose to believe it to be so because for you it's a flex to do that. For you to say I have friends on all these women, that's a flex most men will never be able to say they can do. They're so far on the other end of the spectrum. They're the ones getting friend zoned while you are in a position to friend zone multiple women. So for
that's their choice though. That's their choice.
But we're not arguing that. I'm giving you a compliment, my friend. Yeah. The point is, at the same time, I don't believe that take colleagues out of it, take work, take business out of it. If you meet someone at any social venue and it isn't work related, 99.9% of the time, either the girl wants to fuck or date the guy, or the guy wants to fuck or date the girl. It's usually the guy who wants either sex or a relationship, and either party, the party that is not desired, will choose to stay with that person in some form of a relationship, hoping that at some point, nothing I'm saying is new to you, that at some point something will give. They'll lower their guard, they'll give in, and that never happens. As a guy, though, in your position, friend zoning these women, you know, at the end of the day, that if they're hot and one of them wants to fuck and you're in the mood, it'll happen, because you don't have that same, oh, we're just friends, I would never. I don't think that would happen. Maybe there are some women that you've been friends with for 10 years and you think that sex might ruin that friendship, and you have 180.
There's actually a lot of women like that. Like Kindly, I would feel that way. She's married and I know her husband. So there's a lot of women like that.
But also because you have such a powerful amount of options.
Yes.
That you don't have to even think about.
That is the answer.
You don't have to think about ruining this friendship, because you can bang whoever, whenever, you know. But if you don't have those options, you're going to definitely think about messing up that friendship more likely.
Seems to me like you should take a program that would give you those options.
I can't say I have that. I really don't have that issue, to be honest with you. I'm not hanging out with 30 women at a time, but yeah, I don't have the issue where I need to be honest with you.
Oh, I'm sorry, the proverbial you, not the specific you. In general, if it is an issue where, if it is an issue where you trying to be platonic friends with a female is impossible because you just are so nervous, or she's just so fucking beautiful. Like, dude, I'm really good friends with Lindsay Palas. A lot of people think it's crazy. They think secretly I'm trying to have sex with her. I am not trying to have sex with Lindsay Palas. I love Lindsay. She's coming on my podcast. Lindsay has.
If Lindsay called you tonight and said, "Mike, I want to sit on your face," you're telling me.
Okay, so I want to answer this question, but not while you're recording. I can't. There's more to it, Raphael. I can answer this question, but it's not right. Look, I'll call her right now if you want. Like, it's now. Oh, here, let me say. There's something I'm trying to think how to say this. Okay, if Emily Sears had said that, I would say yes. That's different. Emily Sears, but Emily's like one of Lindsay's best friends. Emily is exactly my type, but Emily and I flirt. We're not dating or anything. Emily just told me today she's coming on my podcast. Emily is more my type. So here's okay. I know how to explain it. Raphael, I am so jaded that.
Oh wait, dude, call me Rafi. Call me Rafi.
Rafi.
Yeah.
Rafi, I am so jaded. I find 1% of women attractive.
I heard you say this on Brad's thing. Okay.
Now I know this is not going to be the same for everything. There's a body type I'm into. The body type I'm into is extremely firm and extremely big fake breasts. Lindsay Palas, her boobs are real. I'm not saying she's not a goddess.
You don't like real. You don't like.
I don't. Well, if you don't like real boobs, what city in America would you live in?
If I don't like real boobs, what city would I live in?
What city in America would you live? No. What city would you live in where there's nobody who has real boobs?
Miami's up there for sure.
Miami's up there, but there's one city that has even more.
Vegas. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. But at the end of the day,
Lindsay Palas is a certified 10 in real life. Her personality, when you see her, the whole room lights up. In real life, if she walks into a room, she is one of the most beautiful, symmetrically perfect human beings I've ever seen in my life. Just not my type. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm good. Not to say she'd ever go out with me. Emily Sears is more my type. I would not say no to Emily Sears, but I would probably. Lindsay and I would just be friends.
Right, but that's also, and credit to you for this. You've been able to put yourself in a predicament where you don't have to oogle and oddle and blah over these women. So I think even for me, dude, I don't hang out with these absolute supermodels. You know, I've been with very attractive women, absolutely. But in terms of
Rafi, what do you think happens when normal women see that I hang out with these supermodels? You think that they don't want to date me? You think they don't want to date me? What do you think happens?
No. You have social proof. They're gonna be extremely attracted to you. I still think there's a difference. Will they want to fuck you? Oh, without a doubt. Will many want to date you? Yes. But to say that every single woman on the planet,
no, of course not.
Not a chance, dude.
Not 95% of women.
Let me give you an example.
Anybody, yeah.
Let me give you an example to bring this point home. Take Drake. Drake is one of the most desired men on the planet. There are women with.
I know. He was writing my girlfriend. I'm aware. While I was sitting next to her, he's messaging her. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was champagne poppy. And I told her, I was like, look, if you want to run off with this dude, just run off. We were broken up now, but like at the time, I was just like, if you need me to run off with him, do it. She didn't. She's like, God, it's going to sound bad. And I don't mean to make her sound shallow, but she's like, I'm just really not into black guys. That's what she said. And that was it.
But that's ridiculous. Meaning the point that you even, here's my thing. If I was dating a girl and she was taught and Drake hits her up and she goes off with Drake, I'm going to say, thank you, Drake. Thank you, world. Bye-bye. Do I blame her? Yes, I still blame her because at the end of the day,
really, you blame her.
I'll tell you why I blame her. I understand that she's taking an opportunity that most women will never have.
If she's not your girlfriend, I wouldn't blame her. If she is your girlfriend, I would blame her.
Oh, dude, if she's my girlfriend, I don't care who the guy is. I don't care how famous.
Okay, agreed. We agree on that.
I don't give a shit. I'm not. There are men that would be like. There are men that would be happy if Drake fucked their girlfriend. I think it is the most pathetic thing in the world.
Agreed.
The most pathetic thing in the world. If Drake started hitting on my girl and I have no fame whatsoever, we were at some big bar and Drake comes over to my girl, and if it's inappropriate, I'm going to be like, dude, I don't give a shit if you're Drake or whoever. Don't talk to my girl like that. Be respectful. And I don't think I would have to. I think my body language would tell it to him anyway. But if I see that she is initiating it too much, and I understand if she'd be excited to see him, but if it would become really flirty, touchy, everything, I'm done. I'll have a conversation with her. I'll be like, listen, I get it. He is who he is. I'll be like, I get he is who he is. But if the status and all that is too much for you to handle and you feel you need to go enjoy that, then, credit, all the best to you. I'm not going to sit there and try to fight back for her love and yada, yada.
Beautiful.
I'll let her flutter in the wind. So I'm saying, like with Drake, for example, what I wanted to bring home is there are millions upon millions of women who would take every opportunity to date and have sex with him. They would break up with their boyfriends and husbands. They'd cheat in a heartbeat for him, no question.
Yep.
But there are women that are level-headed enough that understand that to have an exclusive relationship with a guy like that is zilch, none, zero.
Yeah.
He won't be faithful to her. The likelihood of him being faithful to her is pretty much impossible. If she wants an actual steady relationship, she's not getting it from him. So the negative to being that famous and having status that high is that being able to keep a long-term relationship. For Drake will probably never be married or be in a relationship because honestly, it doesn't even make sense for him.
Okay. So I will tell you that not only will a girl repeat exactly what you said and say, I would never want to try to be in a long-term relationship with Drake because he talks to so many other women. She would absolutely say that. And then right afterwards, go and fuck him. And then try to be in a long-term relationship with him. Because one thing that I've learned, the number one rule in Men of Action is we don't listen to the words.
Oh, dude, emotions will probably take over.
We do not listen to the words. That girl would 100%, she would run her mouth about, I would never date Drake. It's just like the dudes who hit me up and they're like, Michael, I don't like the girls you talk to. They're plastic. Like, bitch, you would fuck that girl in 2 seconds if she looked at you twice.
I'll tell you right now, dude. I'll tell you right now, man. And no hate to the women listening to this that have a lot of plastic surgery. I wouldn't date a girl that has plastic surgery. If she has a little bit of she had some wrinkles and she got a little bit of, what do you call it?
I'm not talking about Botox, bro. No, I'm
not talking about lip fillers and fake tits.
I'm not talking about. You're telling me.
I'll tell you right now, dude. I'm not going to date one long term.
Rafi, ready? Hold on. This is your TikTok clip. Ready? You to record
go
this.
Ahead.
Rafi, you're telling me you would never date a girl with a boob job?
I don't think so. Could it happen? Is it possible? I'm not going to write anything off, but slim likelihood. Will I bang one? That's a different story. Will I date one long term? I don't see it happening.
Bro, you about to get 500,000 views on TikTok if you post that shit right there. Yeah, just
I'm okay
watch
with
me.
that, bro. I'm okay with that. We can post it. I'm fine with it. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with a woman. I don't like, people can have their preferences. This is what Myron talks about. Myron talks about how when men have their preferences, everyone gets their panties in a bunch. Everyone loses their shit. The man is a misogynist and this and that. I have my preferences. If a girl has her preferences with a certain kind of look,
I told you mine.
Yep. I have no regrets with this. If people put me on blast and they make me out to be something, whatever, go ahead. It's ridiculous.
I'm just trying to tell you to go viral on TikTok. I don't know about putting you on blast. I'm just telling you this is how you go viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right. So
it doesn't mean I don't find them attractive. That's not the point. It doesn't mean I don't find them attractive. Some of these women are gorgeous, but it's that there's a certain personality trait that I think often comes along with that. And I don't know if I'd be compatible. I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying man plans and God laughs. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But I think that oftentimes women who do have a lot of plastic surgery doesn't mean they're not good people. It doesn't mean they wouldn't make good wives or girlfriends. It's that they often, there's, I think, a certain level of heightened insecurity in certain respects, at least in the physical department, where it's going to be hard to relate, because I'm a guy and I was in the Army, you were in the Army, you get dirty, you train, you get cuts and bruises. Sometimes I look better than other days. Women like that are very, very meticulous about how they look, very meticulous about how they look. So I would find myself getting frustrated with that, I think, more. But it's also it's a different kind of person. I don't know if it's just not really what I'm looking for long term. But I mean,
yeah, I just found in general that, Tony Robbins, what does he specialize in? All kinds of different self-help. He wrote a book on money. He wrote a book on just different types of things, because status is status is status. And where I think
Tony Robbins is faithful to his wife?
I don't know. I can't say anything about it. I may meet Tony Robbins at some point, and I don't want there to be a video out there of me trying to snitch on him. All right. But here's the thing, right? Because I interviewed Nick Santonastasso, and he works for Tony Robbins. So
I want to meet Tony Robbins, so he's going to hear this.
Right. So here's the thing. Tony Robbins will speak on a lot of different subjects, and this is just the point I'm trying to make. And I don't know what the main crux of your audience is, but what happens is Pickup and Red Pill are trying to gain status for women, and I'm not trying to gain status for women. I'm trying to gain status. Okay. This is where the big difference is. I don't try to gain status to get a free meal or to get on TV or to get a bunch of YouTube followers or to get a bunch of women.
That's not what they talk about. Generally, the women are a big component in what they discuss, because they do want to help men attract women.
Who's they? Who are you talking about? They?
Myron, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Myron.
Well, yeah.
Myron does say, build your status, don't prioritize women. So he does say that. But yeah, it is geared towards dating and relationships. I
don't put Myron in the pickup artist category at all, though.
He's not. No, he says he isn't. No, definitely not.
Yeah. I don't put him in that category at all.
So. Definitely not. The only real thing that I have a hard time understanding from Myron's point is just the taglines, and that's what gets the views. He knows how to push a podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got a bomb podcast. Yeah. But when they'll do they'll put a thumbnail as a video and say this delusional hoe, and they'll have like an arrow pointing to her face, and it's like, damn, bro, like I can't do that.
I can't do that either. I can't do that either.
Yeah, I don't have it in me to do that.
I don't have it in me to do that. When I have some other guests that I've had on where like the stuff Vegas Dave says, I can't do that shit. He called out all these cocktail servers that worked at this one nightclub. He just called them horrible names, bro. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't. Yeah, like there are guys that come on. Justin Ross Lee, when he was on there, some of the shit that he says about people, I had to cut a bunch of stuff out of my interview with him.
Oh, what does he say?
He was talking. Just a buddy of mine. We were out at my friend's table. My friend paid for everything, and he's just talking shit about my buddy. And I was just like, bro, I understand that you're making fun of him, and this is like a bit, but that dude was like nice to you, so I'm not going to fucking put that in my podcast, right. Stuff like that. So there's issues like that. You know what I'm saying? But I can't do it. And like some of the stuff that Myron says or Fresh say on the show, like even if I agree with it, you're right. The way it's delivered is just like so cutting. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. He did the same thing. Oh, you're still 40 and ugly, so you have no chance with this dude, right? And so he did the same thing. There were a lot of different ways.
It's to get traction, man. It's the shock factor. It'll get views because it's good. Publicity is publicity. I can't talk to women like that, man. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't talk to women like
that. And I'm not bashing.
But I can't do it. Still agree. Yeah, I still agree. Aside from that, I still agree very much with what Myron and Fresh talk about. I really do, a large percentage of it. And even Kevin Samuels, a lot of what he said, I agreed with. It was the delivery. And it's very controversial stuff. And people listening to this who follow them would be like, oh my God, Rafi, how dare you? At the end of the day, most people know what they talk about in their subconscious, whether you're male or female. We know a lot of these things to be true, and we're willing to admit them or we're not. But it's like the thing with single women, older women,
yeah,
and what they talk about in the hitting the wall, the biological clock. It's very hard to tell that to a woman. It's very hard to accept such a thing.
Yeah, you really don't have to tell. You really don't have to tell them though. The world tells them. That's what I found.
I think the world used to tell them a lot more. I think that nowadays they're right. Nowadays, like what Myron talks about, these guys talk about, is because of all the social media, a woman who's 40 with a kid doesn't mean she doesn't deserve love, but she's getting attention that she misconstrues for something
Okay, got
serious.
it. Okay, yeah.
Hold on. So let me go into this a little more for people that don't hear what I'm saying, because I know you get it. Is you'll have a 40-year-old girl, she might be beautiful, but a younger guy in their 20s, early 30s, most of them are not looking to take on a kid and an older woman 10 years older. They're looking at her from a casual point of view.
Yeah.
So because she's longing for love, she really wants to find something long term. She will latch on to this 28-year-old or 30-year-old really good looking guy who's nice, who's respectful, who's doing well for himself, and she'll hope that something comes of it. But because she gets this younger guy giving her attention altogether, she now has a false expectation that she can now go for 10 men that are 10 years younger on a constant, and something long-term will come out of it. The reality is that most guys, especially if they have their shit together, if they're good looking, if they're in shape, they're going to want women younger. They're going to want women with more time on the clock. If they have the options, they're going to take them. You even have men their age, men in their 50s, men in their 60s even. If they're attractive and they have money, they're most likely going to want a woman a lot younger. So women in that position have it tough. And I think that there is sometimes a bit of a delusion where they think that they have more options than they do.
Okay, go ahead.
It's hard to say. Like it sounds shitty because it is. It's not fair. But I think that's the reality.
So when I hear the controversial stuff they say on the show, my thought is, for the relationships they're looking for, they're 100% correct, but that's not for everyone.
For sure. But I think,
and there should be no acrimony towards them for wanting a man to lead, and there should be no acrimony from them for finding a relationship where somebody else doesn't want to lead. Personally, what am I going to do in my relationship? I'm probably going to lead. That's just me. But because I'm a libertarian in life, I'm a libertarian. I believe I went and joined the U.S. military to protect everyone else's right to express themselves and to not hate somebody because they don't agree with what I believe. That's just where I'm different. And maybe because of that, my YouTube videos are less interesting because I don't really have I don't have opinions anymore, bro. I just see YouTube segment. I told CJ Sparks is one of my best friends. We were joking about this because she has a podcast and I have a podcast and we have the same guests on all the time. And I was saying, CJ, I don't have opinions anymore. I just have podcast segments. And she's like, yeah, I feel the same way. She's like, it's just like, anytime I get in an argument with someone, I was like, let's get you on the podcast. Let's talk about this on the podcast.
It's great. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
The debates are where it's at though. The controversy is what makes this topic so large. Yeah. I think, but here's the thing real quick. What were you going to say?
Oh, I got to go here in a little bit. I got to get to the
airport. But we'll wrap this up quick. They talk about generalities though, dude. Like they make that very clear. They talk about the general populace would probably prefer to have a man leading and a woman following, so to speak. Doesn't mean that, I think people misconstrue. They're equal. They're just as good. I think there's a dynamic.
Well, they don't believe men and women are equal. They have very, very explicitly stated they don't think men are equal. I think men and women are equal. I just don't think they're the same. But Myron,
because I also think that they use equal wrong. I think they say that he said that they're the same. Whatever. Listen, what they really believe under the table could be different than what they say. But I think they have a lot of value. People have to understand it. But that all in all, dude, thank you for coming on the show. I would have loved to have a much longer discussion if we were sitting, having a smoke, whatever it is. I definitely look forward to that. Hope if you're in Miami,
then just come to Babies in Toyland on Saturday.
What's up?
Just come to Babies in Toyland on Saturday. I'm hosting a charity in Miami on South Beach on Saturday with 300 girls.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
So it's an all white party and I've got 300 girls coming. Yeah. A bunch of my clients are coming. I think there's probably like maybe 50, 60 guys coming.
Wow, dude. Damn. Okay. All right, dude. Sounds good.
Listen, man, I don't disagree with some of the stuff you're saying. I would just rather live this life. I like 6-to-1 ratio. That's just me.
Bro, you're living the life, man. I wanted to go into, by the way, there's so much more I wanted to talk about. We'll talk about it when we meet.
Well, we can. I got to go pick somebody from there, bro.
Dude,
if you guys want the 6-to-1 ratio, please go to moamentoring.com and you guys can learn more. Like, I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of difficulty, especially one of the things I got to do is tone down some of the stuff I post because the stuff I post is so unreal. It seems so unrealistic for so many guys. But then when I show my testimonials with my clients, they're like, oh, wow, this is real. This is really happening. It's very hard for people to deal with. I have one client who's like 4'11", and he's like surrounded by women all the time because he just follows
4'11".
He just follows direct. He just does what I ask him, and he does exactly what I say, and it works out. Because everything I do, rule number one, we don't listen to the words, but rule number two is all human behavior can be explained through evolutionary psychology. So we use evolutionary psychology in order to develop what it is that we do, because evolutionary psychology is ubiquitous amongst all Homo sapiens. We don't do things that are based on fads or behaviorism or Freud or Jung or any of that stuff. We stick to Dr. David Buss and Margot Wilson and Leah Cosmides and Steven Pinker. We stick to stuff that is testable and provable. And when you do that, you find out what human motivation actually is, as opposed to what you want it to be. We are a bunch of hairless murder apes. Sorry, that's the truth, right? But if you're willing to accept that that's what we are, then you'll find you're going to have a lot more success with business, a lot more success with marketing, a lot more success when it comes to networking, a lot more success with dating. Because I would rather know the truth.
Definitely.
It's time to let you guys know Santa Claus isn't real. And if you're ready to learn that Santa Claus isn't real, and you actually do want to come with me to the Playboy Mansion, like literally the Playboy Mansion, like on Charing Cross in Bel Air, that Playboy Mansion, if you actually do want to come with me to that, because I work for Playboy now, I'm hosting their bikini competition, then join me, come this way. But it's not a long journey. The first 90 days are going to be like pretty dramatic changes, but it is going to take about a year to get through the entire program.
Very interesting. Yeah. So guys, whoever's interested, check it out. I'm going to post all of your links in social media so people can check it out. So yeah, Mike, thank you so much for coming. I'm looking forward to meeting in person. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed, man. I very much enjoyed the dialogue.
Go my IG story. The link to Babes in Toyland is up there. Just come to Babes in Toyland. Come to Babes in Toyland on Saturday.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, man. Talk to you soon, man.
We'll talk. Absolutely.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.